Let's talk about path curve. What the heck is it? How do we turn it on? How do we use it? So I'm going to give you like a basic introduction to that. Version 14 of Filmora introduced this path curve, and it's still it's in infancy because it's a little cumbersome to use right now. Plus, it's only available in the transform section of an object that can be tracked with keyframes. Path curve is all about keyframes. What we know about keyframes is that we can apply them to an object. In this case, we're applying it to this little object here. And if we move that object up here, then we can add another keyframe. Oh, that's a basic mistake. Never do what I just did. I've added a keyframe to the first location. Always move your playhead first to the new location, then take your object and move it. And then move your, you know what, I'm going to keep clicking this up here because I might want to do something else with this object here. But basically, keyframes are automatically added to the timeline as you move the object around. So here we go. We're going to get just like that. And we're going to make one more move. We're going to go up here. And a little excessive, but I will make a last move down here. Okay, playing it back, what we know about keyframes is that they move in a straight line. You know, it may be that you would like to curve around something, hence path curve. So going back to the beginning here, we see we have the path curve. It's now lit up over here, so we can actually activate it. And now it's blue, so now it's active. But big deal, we still don't see anything, and everything still goes the same way. Okay, when we click on either the object in the preview screen or on the object in the timeline, we will be able to see the path. And there it is. If the object is selected, you click once. If it's not selected, you click it twice. But you can also click it right in the preview window, which is perhaps the easiest way to note it. So you'll notice that when we play it, we can't see the line. That's one of the things that they need to fix. But if I use manually scrub through the timeline, we can see that the object is basically following the straight line. So now that we have, we can see our path and we have our keyframes, we can right click on them, not down in the timeline, but up in the preview window. And we can change what the keyframe type is. For example, right now everything is linear. I could set this to curve, and this generates this curve. And if I go down here, I could set it to curve again. I could go up here. I could set it to curve again. Now, you notice that there were some different types in here. There's linear, curve, and then there's continuous curve. Now, continuous curve is supposed to smooth out the motion between these. I don't know whether it will or not, but now if we scrub through the timeline, you can see that our object actually goes around the curves rather than from side to side. Let's play it, and we should be losing our lines there. And we did, but we got that nice curve. We got a curve. Now let's change these, and again, let's click here so we can see it. And if we see that, okay, I don't want to get too technical, but the name of this type of curve is called a Bezier curve, which means that you can adjust it. So these little handles that stick out here allows us to adjust the curve. We can, for example, move it down if we want to try to smooth it out, or we can lengthen it or make it shorter. In other words, we can form our curve to just the shape that we want. And we're down here, we right click, we make this a curve. Notice this only has one handle, and that's because it's at the end of our line. Now we can use this to shape the curve however we want. Here we're going off screen. We could try and go the other side of the object, and we can play it that way, and we get something like that. That's kind of goofy, but it just shows you, this gives you the ability to smooth out the curve if you have an object that you want to move around the screen using keyframes to generate the animation. So let's just play this the way it is, and that's how it works. Now I tried to do that on a piece of video that I had where motion tracking wasn't going to work out very well. A skier was moving between trees, and every time the skier went behind the trees, I lost the motion tracking on him. So keyframing would have been a way to follow him around with the arrow. The problem that I had was that all of the keyframes were in a very tight little space, so it was very difficult to work with the curves. So I would say this path curve works better if your object is moving to different sides of the screen. But it is a way that you can minimize it. Obviously, you could make this same curve by putting in, 400 or 500 keyframes between the main keyframes so that the curve appears smooth. This is a shortcut to that. You use minimal number of keyframes. You right click up here to use the keyframe to change it. Now there's two more features in here, and that's ease in and ease out. If you play it back with just the regular curves, you may sometimes find that it kind of like speeds up or slows down at certain spots. And this is a way that you can actually do that. We go to this keyframe and we change here, and let's say we do an ease in, and that should make it go slower. So let's start from down here. We play it, and it will make it go a little slower until it's in, and then it'll go fast as it comes out. So that's what the feature that is. Now there is another way to edit all of this stuff rather than right on the screen. That is, you can right click on the object, and then you can say show keyframe animation, or shortcut key Alt-Shift-K. You click that and it expands the timeline for this. And now I can either scale X or scale Y. I can't click position Y or position X, but I can click scale Y, and then now I'm moving the Y scale and scale X. I haven't really played with this, but I assume that if you move something up and down here, okay, so we're scaling the object. Apparently that's what we can do. So we can place that there. We can go down here, maybe to this keyframe. You ought to be able to add more, I don't know. But here again, you can change whether you want linear motion, whether you want curved motion. Again, I haven't played with that, but it is just another place that you can play with it. And that's I'm sorry, I was going to say keyframing, but that's path curve.